We have trouble. Remember that God is standing by. Of course, that is true. That is true. And at 5 minutes after 12 o'clock, I'm saying if you have some back pain and you need some chiropractic care, Dr. Fidel Goldson, of course, he's standing by, ready to turn up the life.
Do you suffer from neck or back pain? Are you still hurting from a car accident? Call Goldson Spine Rehabilitation Center. We're a chiropractic and physical therapy center that treats patients suffering from whiplash and sports injuries. At Goldson Spine Center, our friendly staff is dedicated to helping you live pain-free. Goldson Spine Rehab Center. We want you to return to an active lifestyle as quickly as possible. Call our plantation office today at 954-584-3774. Or you can call our newly opened Pembroke Pines location at 954-367-4888. If you have access to the web, visit us online at www.golsonspine.com. Because you deserve the best.
Just because you deserve the best. And so we head over to Studio B and say pleasant afternoon to Dr. Goldson, Mr. Levy. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Brother Paul, and good afternoon to all the wonderful listeners of WAVS Radio. Doc, good afternoon. How are you?
Brother Levy, good afternoon, and good afternoon, everyone. And Brother Paul in the engineer room, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Doc.
You're looking good, man. You're working out.
I'm doing some things here, Doc.
Yeah, doing something right. Keep it up. Yeah, share the secret.
Thank you.
I wonder, I hope it's not working out in the backyard alone, you know.
Something.
Something is working. Hey, the backyard is good, you know, get those vegetables growing, doing some weeding and planting. Yes, excellent.
And of course, Doc, we're heading, you know, for a world food crisis. We'll be talking about that at 12:30. But Doc, what's on the agenda today?
Well, I guess we could keep the world food crisis on the agenda because if there's one coming, I think we all need to know. And make preparations. That's the Brother Paul started making preparations in the backyard with the garden. Never hurt to grow your own vegetables. I mean, it's therapeutic as well. Mm-hmm. You know, and plus
the Bible says, you know, there's a famine coming.
Oh.
And a third of the world will die from starvation. But until we die from starvation, you better start planting a little thing in your backyard. It's a good way to work out, and be careful how you bend. Doc, let's talk about gardening then. Since we didn't talk about it. But
and proper biomechanics when it relates to gardening.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that now.
Well, you know, we see a fair share of people who come into our office with lower back pain because of gardening. And I suppose it's that, you know, when you bend over to pull weeds or to plant, or when you do any sort of bending, especially if you're going to be lifting, you know, you got to remember proper biomechanics. And simply what that is using your body in such a way that you can use minimum effort to get maximum results and therefore not put a lot of strain upon your back. And so whenever you have to bend for any reason, to tie your shoelace, to pick up a pencil or a piece of paper, you want to remember to bend with the knees and at the hips. What you don't want to do is bend with your knees straight and bending over at the waist, because you're giving up a lot of leverage and putting on a lot of tension at the lower back area. Mm-hmm. And so many people have strained their back from that simple move. But if it's something they've been doing for a long time, it's just a matter of time until, you know, that last fiber, that last muscle and ligament fiber that was holding things together gives, and they think that it was just at one time, but as a result of repeatedly doing this thing incorrectly. And another thing, if you're in a garden, you know, there's pads that you can buy where you can actually kneel down as you're doing your planting and your weeding and so forth, so you don't have to be bent over in an awkward position, which puts a lot of strain on your back. So you bend at the knee, or you get one of those knee pads where actually you're kneeling down while you're actually doing the gardening. And that saves a lot of trouble, because if you can, you want to avoid any sort of back injury.
Or get an old dress or old trousers and kneel
and kneel down on it.
Yes,
but that's whatever, you know. Just don't bend with your knees locked straight. You know, when you get out of bed in the morning, you also want to consider that, because when you get out of the bed in the morning, you find that is when you're most stiff. And that is when you want to start considering the proper biomechanics. When you go to the sink to wash your face, to brush your teeth, you want to remember not to bend over the sink with your knees straight. You want to, again, give a little bend in the knee. When you do that, you'll find that it takes quite a bit of tension off of the lower back.
I mean, Doc, we just do this casually, you know. You go in the garden and you bend over and you pull all day, and then you feel the pain in the lower back here.
You know, I want to ask a question here. That is it that people are more fragile today, or they just need more education? Because look at the farmers. I grew in a farming community, and people have been bending all day, 7 days of the week.
All right, Brother Paul, listen to this one now. Those farmers used to walk 2 miles to the farm, or 3 miles.
True.
Yeah.
That's exercise.
Yes.
So they were kind of physically fit, you know, Doc.
They were already fit. It was built into the system.
Yeah, because what I'm saying, that is lifestyle there, Doc. And, you know, pretty much, you know, they'll here and there, they'll cry for a little pain, but nothing that will prevent them from doing their daily routine.
Work, yeah.
Right. So what's the difference here? With, you know?
I think we become more sedentary, as Brother Leaford mentioned. You know, a person who goes out and do some gardening in the weekend or in the evenings, probably during the course of the day is sitting at a desk job.
Right.
And then so when they get up to do these activities, physical activities, the body is not used to it. So these muscles have been shortened, they become weaker, and so they just, when they try to do anything, it puts a strain upon the body.
You know, Doc, I met a lady in Jamaica last year, went to my brother's funeral, and they said, she still walked 2.5 miles to Port Maria.
Yeah.
This lady will not take one of those $100 because it's $100 on the cab, you know. On the car, a lot of private cars, they're just crazy on the road down there. And this lady will walk 2.5 miles to Port Maria to do her grocery.
And benefiting from it.
Yes.
Saving $100.
And everybody else, even the kids going to a school a mile away, they want a car fare.
Yeah.
They're not walking anymore.
Yeah. You know, Brother Paul, you might have hit on to something because maybe we're just not as fit, and that's one of the reasons why Miss Obama, First Lady, have this initiative now to get our children fit, because they're saying that our children is going to be one of the most unfit generations there is. You know, as far as the chronic diseases, the diabetes, the hypertension, the obesities all this begins with. Our children is probably going to be one of the most obese and unfit generation for a long time, and it makes sense when you realize how much they have made use of what we call these labor-saving devices. Remember the washing machine, the dishwasher, the dryer. Remember, we used to go out and hang clothes on the line.
Yes,
I mean, and you may not think that as exercise, but we were being active. And so now you throw it in the dryer, you go from what you take it to the room, you fold it, so you know it's a whole different lifestyle. And this has happened in a very short space of time, probably about 20-25 years, is we went from being so much more physically active to almost completely sedentary. And for many people, children included, the only physical activity that they may get is if their parent enrolls them in some sort of little league or soccer, football, baseball. Outside of that, there's not much required of them. They probably don't cut their lawns. Help the father or the mother in the garden and cutting the lawn. And the things we talked about, hanging clothes on the line and cleaning the house. Little things that don't seem like exercise, but it was part of our routine. Every Saturday morning, we all had our assignments inside the house to do before we went outside the house. I don't know that children really have that much responsibility to the home as we did, just 25 or so years ago.
Brother Paul, you know anything about straw dye and red oak?
Straw dye and red oak.
Doc, it's very serious here you're talking about, because really and truly, as children, we did have responsibility. You have to sweep up a yard. If you are living in a country not having, water faucet, pipe and all of that, you got to go to the river.
Go to the standpipe or somewhere and get the yes, and bring the water home. Yes.
And so coming to America, Doc, the entire lifestyle has changed.
It has changed in Jamaica too, from what I understand.
Yeah, oh, come on, Doc. Nowadays, people pay people to cut. Just if it's the yard, they pay people to cut. It's either the studio. Yeah. So if they come cut the yard, and that is something they could have done themselves, you know.
People used to do that.
I guess it's progress, you know, but with that, I guess there's some
comes at a cost.
Come at a cost. And so people who try to compensate for that by going to a gym, getting together on weekends to, get together a soccer game, a football, basketball game, just to remain active because, we become a more educated society, less agricultural, we tend to be less physical, less labor involved and more information. We're in this information age now, so there's less need for us to be physically active.
And so that eventually takes a toll on us, though.
Well, it causes atrophy. The muscles do tend to waste away. There's some ad I saw about losing 8% of muscle mass per year after you reach a certain age, after I guess 45 or 50. But it seems to me that we probably begin to lose it even earlier, even in our 30s. When we should be at our prime if we are not really physically active as our predecessors were.
And so by not working out, we're getting unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And one might say, well, I only spend 20 minutes in the garden. Why I'm in so much pain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and lots of things. And like Brother Paul was saying, those farmers would work maybe 6-8 hours a day, bending in the field. But they walked 2.5 miles, 3 miles before they get to the farm. So they worked out before they went to the farm, Doc.
And then too, probably these farmers probably were using good biomechanics even before the word was coined. Because, I mean, if you have to do a lot of lifting and you watching other people lift, you would have to adapt and develop means of doing what you need to do without having hurt yourself. And if you do lift a thing a certain way and you find that it hurts you, you're going to find some way to accomplish the same task without hurting yourself. And then other people who observe this will adapt that technique. And so it's probably good biomechanics, maybe before the word. And now we need to talk about good biomechanics because we don't use our bodies mechanically often enough for us to adapt good biomechanics. So now we have to be trained. Whereas before it came about because of an adaptation because we were doing things physically. 3
men putting 8 tons of stone with a shovel on a dump body truck. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it 6 days a week, Doc.
Yes.
And they were okay. So I guess the lifestyle has changed. We sit at the computer maybe 2-3 hours a day. That is sitting in one position. Only the fingers are moving. Mm-hmm. And
circulation, heart's not pumping as it should, joints are not getting lubricated because that's one of the ways that we lubricate our joints is actually when we move them, get that synovial fluid flowing around. And when we walk, we develop new cartilage because of that. There's some bioelectrical activity that takes place when we put some shock into the body, so the body responds by developing stronger bone, new cartilage, stronger muscle. So when we sit here sedentary, things are just wasting away. It's not being developed.
So, Doc, talk about the advantage of chiropractic adjustment.
That is one of the safest approaches to healthcare there is today. It is for back pain, neck pain, headaches, depending on what the cause of the headaches. If it's what we call a cervicogenic headache, it is the most effective, safest approach. What we do as chiropractors primarily is that we look at a person's spine and trace from the spine the nerves that goes to the area of the body that they're complaining of, and trace back to the spine to find and look at the area of the spine to see if the bones are lined up as they should. If they're not lined up as it should, 1 or 2 bones, then we realize that because it's not, there's going to be pressure upon nerves, tension upon muscles, and overstretching of the ligaments. And so we locate that area by a palpation, checking range of motion, maybe doing some x-rays. Once we determine that this is the area, then we make an adjustment to set that bone in its proper position, that vertebra in its proper position, and thereby reversing what was happening. realigning the bone, taking the pressure off the nerves, taking the tension off the muscle and the ligament, and in time, that nerve will be carrying a proper nerve signal, and that symptom, whether it be backache, neckache, or head pain, that symptom will resolve because of the body's own ability to heal itself.
So, Doc, the spine is like a road map. So you follow the road map and look for the signs.
Yes, exactly what we do. Or we can look from it from the periphery back to the spine, or from the spine outward, because it's all connected. And ultimately, the highest connection in the body is in the brain. Because in order for us to experience symptoms, that signal has to go through the sensory nerves, up through the thalamus, and up to the sensory cortex of the brain. And in that is a very interesting idea that, as one of these scientists has discovered, that people who have chronic pain start to develop degeneration of the brain, because you get this noxious stimuli that's coming up from the area of pain going to the sensory cortex. So the sensory cortex is being bombarded by this noxious, painful, abnormal signal that eventually it makes anatomical changes that is sort of degenerate. So pain, and especially what we call chronic pain, is nothing to ignore.
Doc, who should come for a chiropractic adjustment?
Well, I don't know if everybody should come for an adjustment. Everybody should come to have their spine checked first. And once we check the spine, maybe the spine is in a normal alignment. There's no tension on the nerves, no tension on the muscle. Ligaments are in good tone. There's no reason to have an adjustment. But if you have an area of your spine that is not aligned properly, you are a candidate for an adjustment.
And Doc, I'm going to make an offer that you didn't tell me to make, and maybe I get in trouble for doing it. The first 10 people to call your office, Doc, you'll give them a free examination.
We'll give them a free consultation.
Give the number, Doc.
The number for Pembroke Pines is 954-367-4888, 954-367-4888. And in Plantation, 954-584-3774, 954-584-3774. That's a good offer. I think I'm going to take you up on that.
All right, Doc. So, if you're feeling any pain, any discomfort when you sit, give Doc a call. Doc, the numbers one more time.
Pembroke Pines, 954-367-4888, 954-367-4888. Plantation, 954-584-3774. Of course, I'd invite you to visit our website at www.goldsonspine.com.
And Doc, we always close out with a quote from Opal Morris' book. Close us out with one of those.
This is from Opal Morris' book. It's called I Am Precious, Genuine Gems for the Soul. In the presence of wisdom, growing old is a blessing. Wow.
Oh, that's a good one. And Doc, that's how we'll put a cap on this one. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you to all the wonderful listeners who listen to this program.
Thank you.
Turn up the lights. Do you suffer from neck or back pain? Are you still hurting from a car accident? Call Goldson Spine Rehabilitation Center. We're a chiropractic and physical therapy center that treats patients suffering from whiplash and sports injuries. At Goldson Spine Center, our friendly staff is dedicated to helping you live pain-free. Goldson Spine Rehab Center. We want you to return to an active lifestyle as quickly as possible. Call our plantation office today at 954-584-3774. Or you can call our newly opened Pembroke Pines location at 954-367-4888. If you have access to the web, visit us online at www.goldsonspine.com. 'Cause you deserve the best.
Illness is something we cannot avoid, and the first question you're asked when you walk into a